let's go back to the classroom. It's back to school already. We're a week away from the back to school. And one high school in Oka, École Secondaire Oka, is taking the cell phone ban to the next level. They are banning them for the whole school day for both kids and staff. The school intends on telling kids to have their phones in a pouch with a lock on it. They will not be able to access their phones from the moment they arrive at school. Lunch, breaks, recess, no phones. And it is interesting that the staff is also on board with this ban. The principal of the school says we want to get back to the sort of teaching basics that schools are supposed to do. Catherine Hogan is our high school expert, as she is a high school teacher at Westwood High in Hudson, and she is on the line. Hi, Catherine.
Good morning, Elias.
So what is your, because obviously there was the education minister with the directive that came out and telling all schools, hey, you can't have cell phones, smartphones while you're in class. Okay, that's a great first step. This goes to the next level. What are your thoughts?
It's really interesting, and I found it was a good initiative by the school. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out for the school year. I think what you said, it was really important, Elias, that everyone has to buy into this, though. So they've all got to commit to it, whether it's staff and students. And if they can do that, I think they will actually have some really good positive outcomes in terms of socialization between the children, and I think bringing back activities into the school and having things happen during the day without their cell phones attached to them.
What has happened? So why don't you tell me about your high school, Westwood Senior High? What is the policy there?
So we follow the Quebec ban as well. So no cell phones in classrooms. The students at our school are allowed to use them during lunchtime and recess, although I know that there are other schools within my school board that are reducing that time as well and having the kids not use them at lunch. And I think that that would be a good next step. I think it's a good step to take it out of the classroom first and foremost, absolutely. But then I think it is sort of an interesting step to go to that next level and to see and begin to, again, socialize the kids and have them interacting more and less attached to their phones.
Catherine, what do you see with the policy at your school? When the recess bell hits, when the lunch bell hits, what do you see with your eyes? Do students automatically go right to the phone?
Yes. I would say for the most part they do. They are certainly interacting more since the ban happened in the classrooms. I think students did feel a sense of relief about that, and many of them have expressed that to me, that because it was taken off of their plate by, the minister, they felt comfortable and happy not having their cell phones with them because that they had an excuse to not have them, right? They were not allowed. And so they didn't have to navigate that alone with their own social skills. They didn't have to be the only person not using their cell phone. They liked that it was a school-wide ban. They do, however, still rely on them a little bit at lunch, Snapchatting each other, showing each other videos. This is sort of the generation. That's kind of how they interact a little bit at lunch. But I think that they would be open, and what we have seen is kids participating a little bit more in lunchtime activities now coming around. We've put in basketball court and volleyball courts outside at our school, and we are seeing that kids are kind of switching up their thought process and starting to go back to doing some of those fun and interactive things. And because I run student life, that's wonderful news for me. I'm happy to see kids coming back and doing those sort of things in their school day.
When I brought this up with our listeners yesterday, I got two types of pushback. One was the pushback was, what, they're kids, they're going to find a way around the rule. They'll just bring in two phones to school and then they'll use it on this side. And I just want to, in my mind, actually, if it's a ban for all students, I think as long as it applies to all students, they're in favor, and they would rat out their friend that was using their phone when everyone else doesn't have one. So what has happened with the ban? Do you still find a student every now and again trying to sneak in their phone?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. And that's where we need to have people on board at home as well, right? Because some families, the parents will say, no, you need to have your cell phone with you all the time. I want to be able to text you and reach you at all times. So that's where we really need buy-in from the families as well to say, okay, between, 8 and noon, you can't just freely text your children whenever you want or disrupt them during class time. This is their learning time, their focus time. You've got to wait until lunch. Or you can contact the school, of course, in an emergency. That's what we always did. It's not like you can't communicate. If there's an emergency, you can contact the school.
So, and the other thing that was brought up, and this was the most contentious thing, some people brought up, well, you know what? What about emergency situations like school shooters? If you take away the cell phones, the smartphones from children in classrooms, that would lead to people being killed. And I was so gobsmacked by that argument because the United States is your greatest example.
Right.
Yeah, as smartphones have increased, the shootings have increased, not the other way, right? So and the deaths have gone up. So what about that? What about safety? If there were no smartphones in a classroom, how do you ensure students are safe in worst case scenarios?
Well, listen, Elias, a cell phone isn't going to keep them safe from a shooter. Let's just be honest there. And we have access to our intercom system in our classroom where we can communicate automatically with the main office. And we do have ways of communicating from our classroom with the main office at all times, not necessarily through our phones. It's just the way that we always used to do it with our intercom system, for example. I mean, if one teacher has a cell phone in the classroom in their purse, then, there's my answer right there. They can call. They can be the adult with the cell phone in their purse that then makes that emergency phone call.
What do you think, part of this at the high school in Oka, that the staff is on board and they're also saying no phones for us as well?
Yes.
What do you think about that part of this equation? And do you and your other colleagues also face what the students face, maybe a smartphone addiction?
Yeah, so I actually am really on board on this. I can only speak for myself, but I also follow the rule. I really believe in modeling for my students the behavior. And I know it's hard for them, so I always tell them I don't bring my cell phone to class either. My students know that. It's something I tell them all the time. And if my administration is trying to communicate with me during the day through my cell phone, and they've said, did you receive my text? And I said, no, I was teaching in my classroom, so I did not bring my phone to the classroom. And I'm confident enough to say that. I feel that it's the best thing to not have my cell phone in the classroom as well. I have my intercom system, and I want to focus on the students who are in front of me. And so that's just my own personal belief. I leave my cell phone in the workroom.
How many days left for you before the first day of classes? When is the first day of class for you?
So our staff starts on Friday, and we have PED days Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then our students arrive on next Wednesday. Our grade 9s come in for the first time next Wednesday.
Well, an old commercial told me it's the most wonderful time of the year. I wish you a happy return to classes, Catherine.
Thank you so much.
Catherine Hogan, high school teacher at Westwood Senior High in Hudson.